G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Super Rugby 2024 is upon us. The Blues versus the Fijian Drua. This was the first game for the Endurance 2024 campaign. Away in Auckland against the Chokers. Sorry, the Blues. To be fair, the Blues did their homework going into this game. They had a lot of changes to their lineup. Obviously, the coach, Leo McDonald, has moved on to the All Blacks setup. And really left the Blues. In fact, what's his name? Joe Schmidt also left the Blues as well. So the Blues are left a little bit run down. No Beauden Barrett for this season as well. He's overseas playing in Japan, eating sushi. So yeah, the Blues had to come into this game, I guess go into this season overall with a bit of a different setup, with a bit of a different strategy. It's very clear in this particular game that the Blues has shifted away from the Beauden Barrett's kicking game, the elusive, attack the space behind you kind of strategy that was very, very prominent for them in the last couple of years. They have moved away from that and really played it really tight this game against the Endurance. And it's just really, even the backline, Caleb Clark was just crashing into that, 10 channel and a 12 channel like he's a center. I mean, his dad used to be a great center for the All Blacks. So maybe Caleb is trying to shift different positions and move on to the center position. But yeah, there was a lot of really tight play. And then finding that, getting that forward momentum from their forward pack and then following through with quick balls and getting themselves in for tries. And then creating space out wide. And then they go out wide and getting the tries from the space that's been created. So that's a very clear strategy that the Blues has been shifted away from. The kicking game that was heavily played with Beauden Barrett in the team. With that being said, this could also be a bit of a strategy the Blue kind of specifically tailored against the Endurance, because they did have a very strong dominance over the Endurance in terms of the scrummaging and the set piece. And also they probably felt like they could run this Endurance down a little bit in terms of trying to, maybe beat the Endurance with a fitness game. The Blues has changed their front rowers a little bit as well. The Angus Tarval, the former All Blacks, absorbing tackle, I was going to say, but he wasn't fortunate enough to get the absorbing tackle treatment. He had a red card in the All Blacks last time they played for them. So with addition of Angus Tarval and what's his name, the Ofa Tuangafasi, I think he moved away from the Blues. The Blues had a very heavy emphasis on the Ofa is not here on their scrummaging, especially with Tarval back. They were really able to dominate and squeeze that Juras scrummers at times. When they got the penalties, they just went for the scrums instead of going for the lineouts or taking the 3 points, which I'm very appreciate that the Blues didn't just take the easy points every time it was available, because they're not based in Australia. And this was a quite entertaining game. The Endurance had pretty much a very similar plan as well. They also lost a lot of players, the Endurance, from their lineup last season. But the Endurance looked really good at times. Like early in the game, they were putting a lot of pressures on the Blues. They had 23 phases, almost scoring a try from the get-go, and really got right up to the Blues try line before the ball was spoiled. And then the Endurance was fighting back the whole game, just trying to play that expansive style of rugby. It didn't really pay off for them. I think the Blues did a really good job using their forward pack to neutralize that speed and that athleticism the Endurance have with that offload game out wide. And walked away quite comfortably, 34 points to 10 over the Endurance. Some interesting match stats. The run meters actually Endurance were leading 461 to the Blues. 437. 6 tries to 1 though. The Blues absolutely destroyed that. There was a lot of discipline issues for both teams. Ben O'Keefe was not having multiple infringements. Both teams received yellow cards as a result of repeated infringements. But the Blues had fewer run meters, 437, whilst being more effective in turning that into points. 10 turnovers conceded the Blues, 13 against the Endurance. Tackles made 178, 30 missed tackles, something that the Blues probably want to improve a little bit. The Endurance as well, tackling count wasn't that amazing. 101 tackles made, 26 missed tackles. Both teams weren't really keen on that kicking game. 17 for the Blues, 12 for the Fijian Drua. With the changing of the new rules, that you have to run your players on side for them to be eligible to make tackles. May have something to do with the way that both teams kind of play their kicking game a little bit, much more conservative in their kicking, in the sense that it was, the Blues went for those high balls, and then really it was like much more contestable kicks than, those, it's much more conservative in terms of the style of the kicking for both teams. Breakdowns. Line-out is another thing that I thought was a little bit interesting. The Blues had a few lineouts kind of like to their own. There was, I think there was one or two lineouts where it just didn't look straight to me, but the referee just didn't call it, just kind of like let it go. And the both teams were a little bit scrappy, but in terms of the Blues has a little bit better setup in that regard when it comes to the set piece. The scrums, absolute dominant for the Blues. Ironically, despite having the more dominant scrum, the Blues lost 2 of their scrums, probably overextending. Both of the scrums that the Blues lost were in the try scoring position 5 minutes out from the Honduras try line. Probably overextended that one trick a little bit too much. They literally had, scrum penalties after scrum penalties, and then it was like, okay, this one we're going to get a penalty try, and then Honduras was able to hold up, and then the Blues was able to, and then the scrum penalty was reversed. So twice the Blues overextended that scrum penalties in front of the Honduras try line, walked away with a lost possession. Penalties count overall, 12 against the Blues, 14 against the Honduras. 1 yellow card each, both from repeated penalties after the referee has given out warnings for better discipline. So yes, like I said, I was very impressed with the overall performance by Caleb Clark this game. I thought he almost looked like he wanted to play center by how tight he is. But yeah, let's look at what happened in this game. Go through some of the key moments. Not to take too long on this review. The game kind of started, like I said, the Honduras was pounding the Blues, and it was looking like they were going to crack the Blues defense. 23 phases, just, nice little one-hand, little offloads, little quick crash balls, just big forwards piling in, and then, try to go wide at times, poking the entire width of the field of the Blues defense. Wasn't able to get through, really, really close to try line before the ball was dislodged in a tackle. And I thought that was, really admirable effort. I did not expect the Honduras to come out that strong. The 8 minutes into the game, Blues already starting to show, get in the first scrum, squeeze it out, the penalty advantage. It did look like the Honduras was, especially on the, I think it was, which side was it? On the loose side for the Blues, actually, seemed to be a bit more dominant, despite Tava is the tight head prop. On the Blues side, it seems to be just pivoting around the loose set side a little bit for the Blues. 9 minutes into the game, I thought Finley Christie milked the penalty. There was a Fijian Drua play on the ground. Some very good acting. He ran up and then just like tripped himself over the player and looked like he was taken out of the game. Referee Ben O'Keefe had no choice but to give it a penalty, and this was right in front of the goalpost. I thought, hey, the Blues, after being under the pump for 5 minutes or so, and then finally got themselves in the position to milk this penalty, I thought they were just going to take the 3, to be honest. But no, the Blues proved me wrong, went for the 5 meter line out. They went for the maul, got really close, and then just, there was interesting a bit in this maul as well. Referee Ben O'Keefe said, use it, despite the fact that the maul seemed to be like going over the try line. I guess the referee has deemed that the maul has stopped, and then, so Finland, I think one of the players peeled off, and then there was a quick pick and go for Hoskins Sotutu goes in for the first try for the Blues at 9 minutes into the game. This was a kick from the sideline. It was quite windy at the stadium. The ball got blown over, so Steven Perofreta wasn't able to take the kick. That's the charge came in, and the referee said, "Nope, you can't take the kick anymore. You charged down." And then and the referee also said you ran out of time. So the first kick conversion wasn't taken at all due to the wind blowing the ball off the tee. 14 minutes into the game, the Blues again just pounding the Honduras. The Caleb Clark just came in on this really nice angle. Found himself like a little, basically kind of like swooped in around behind the rock and then just went straight through I guess like the 9-10 channel. Went under the sticks for the second try for the Blues. 14 minutes in, Sullivan converts this one 12 points to 0. Sorry, Perofeta converts this one 12 points to 0. Zan Sullivan has showed a bit of a nice 50-22, 16 minutes into the game. Following this sort of 50-22, Blues were building a lot of pressure. 21 minutes into the game, Blues were getting like repeated penalties, and then they just opted for the scrum because they felt like they were getting that scrum dominance. Scrum penalty. Eventually, the ball come out to the open side. The scrum was wheeling towards the open side. The ball came out, and then the Blues backline swept around from the blind side. Again, Caleb Clark just crashed into that 10 channel and then was quickly able to get the ball free before contact, and then just good quick hands over the top. Sullivan on the wing going for the try. 17 points to 0 for the Blues. Another miss conversion. 29 minutes into the game, this was again for the first time the scrum went for the Drua's way. This was just inside the Blues half. Inside the Blues 10 meter, so it's like just between the 10 and the 22 meter line, and then the Druas decided to take the 3 points. I thought the Druas, I was a bit surprised. I thought the Druas would probably want to go for the line out, go for the set piece, even just a tap and go in that position. But no, they went for the 3 points. I don't like this. I've spoken about this in my other reviews. I feel like if you're 17 points behind, you really you have to play to win, right? You're here to play to win. You're not here to play to make the scoreboard look like you're not losing that much. Okay, if you play a game of rugby where your goal is to make sure that the scoreboard looks good instead of playing the game to make sure that you win the game, then there's some serious thinking to be done off the field between your coaches and the players. And this is one of those decisions where it's like you make the scoreboard look a little bit better, but it's definitely not in any way, shape, or form getting you to win the game. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a self-confidence thing, I guess. But I personally don't like that kind of move. But Drua gets 3 points on board, 17 points to 3. Just before halftime, the Endurance was under a lot of pressure. They did really good work to turn the ball over just in front of their own try line, following a Blues maul, and then they got the penalty there. They kicked the ball out just as they get the penalty throwing just around the 22-meter mark. As they're trying to clear the ball out from their own 22, it was charged down by none other than Angus Tarval, the big prop, charged the ball down, and then the ball was just like rolling behind the Endurance backline. Players were fumbling the ball around a little bit, and then the ball eventually landed for who was it? He landed for, I thought it was Sotutu who got this one. Yeah, Hoskins Sotutu got this one. Oh, did I miss one somewhere between this as well? Did I miss a couple tries here? Oh, I think I missed one. Yeah, there was a try. Sorry. There was a try where 32 minutes where it was just there was a try scored by Dalton Papali'i in the corner actually. So there was one where Mark Talea was able to get over the gang line, nice little offloads, and then the Blues was just like pounding straight through the middle, right in front of the Fijian try line, in front of the goalpost actually, and the ball just came out with quick hands out wide, and Dalton Papali'i, the biggest winger, goes into the try for the Blues at 32 minutes. And then just before halftime, like I said, the ball got charged down. Ball was bouncing the back line, and then Hoskins Tutu was able to scoop this one up and ground the ball. And then it was just a freebie. And suddenly the scoreboard opened up to 29 points to 3 going into halftime. Second half, the game steadied for both teams. It was really hot out there. We saw this last season when the Blues played in Melbourne against the Brumbies. I think that no points was scored. And it was once again looking like the Blues was probably a little bit flat maybe from the heat. In the second half, it took about 3 minutes. Just before this as well, the Drua had a yellow card. So the Druas was playing with a player in the bin at the moment. Despite that, 43 minutes into the game, the Druas got a penalty. Instead of going for the 3 points, as you would expect, to run the clock down a little bit, they actually decided, which I really applaud this decision. They actually decided to go for the line out, to go for the maul. They went for the line out, went for the maul, got another penalty out of it. They got really close to scoring once again. And then the Druas, and then the referee says, okay, another penalty, gives the Blues another warning, and then Drua just goes, no, we're not gonna go for the line out. We're just taking a quick tap and run, 2 quick pick and goes, and then Drua goes in for the try. 43 minutes into the game, get their first try on the ball, 10 points to 0, and also because of the repeated penalties that Ben O'Keefe has warning, this quick tap and go, the Blues were caught offside again, and Finlay Christie got a yellow card, gets taken off the field. So that was really, really well done for the Endurers. So not only they pushed the Blues with a play in the bin, but they were able to put so much pressure on the Blues that the Blues are now have a play in the bin. So the both teams are now playing with the 14 players on the field, which was really well done by the Endurers. But after that, both teams weren't able to really do much. The Blues was just really keeping it tight, trying to do their set piece with the scrums. With their scrums dominance, trying to squeeze more penalties out of that. Eventually, it took 63 minutes for the Blues to get another scrum inside the Endurance 22. This is a nice little set move. The ball kind of just came out. Good hands between the players under pressure. Again, Caleb Clark was, hitting that 10 channel, 10-12 channel, and then he was just able to get the ball free and eventually quick ball over the top. Sullivan was on the wing into the corner for the Blues. 34 points to 10. And that's the final score that was scored during the game. And then the last 20 minutes or so, neither team was able to crack it. The Endurers was just throwing everything at it. And the Blues were just happy to absorb. And yeah, it was just, the last, 20 minutes or so, it was, I really felt maybe the heat got it because it was like 27 degrees out there or something. Maybe the heat got the team a little bit. But yeah, the Endurers really tried their best, tried the hard out, but the Blues just way too structured. Really, really good with the fundamentals and basics for the Blues. And yeah, the Endurers was just not quite there to be able to crack the Blues defense. 34 points to 10, not too bad. I think next week the Endurers might look at winning against might get a win because they actually look quite good considering how good the Blues are. The Endurers actually look very, very good for in the first game of the season to be really frank. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks to guys who supports this channel with channel membership, Patreon, and then your generous donations. And yes, you make me happy to talk about rugby, and I appreciate you watching. As always, I'll see you guys a bit later for more reviews and Six Nations later tomorrow morning as well. Cheers.